You ever think living out in the country means you're safe from the world's nonsense? I did. Out here in Maple Hollow, Tennessee, we had real space, room to breathe, room to work, and room to be left alone, or so I thought. You could smell the hay after a storm, hear coyotes howling across the fields at night, and not a single soul cared if your mailbox was purple or your fence was a little crooked. Then came Crescent Ridge Estates, with their shiny brochures, their obsession with uniform lawns, and, God help me, Becky Lom, who'd eventually try to torch my life with nothing but a Facebook post. Yeah, that happened. See, when Lydia and I bought this 65-acre patch, it felt like buying a piece of freedom, building our home from the ground up, raising our own goats and chickens, teaching our kids ourselves, running a little farm stand out by the road every weekend. We got our hands dirty and our souls clean. For years, it was just us and the rhythm of honest work. But all that peace, it started to crack the day the bulldozers rolled in and chewed up the old hayfield for Crescent Ridge. Suddenly, there were sidewalks and solar lights and folks waving lawn flags, and you could practically smell the HOA rules drifting in on the morning mist. I met Becky at the farmer's market. She turned up with spotless white sneakers, hair so perfect, you'd swear she sprayed it with lacquer, and a clipboard she clung to like it was the Declaration of Independence. "You must be Eli Turner," she chirped, beaming. "We'd love to partner with your farm, pumpkin picking, and Easter brunch for the neighborhood. Maybe you could join our community newsletter." I just smiled and told her, "Ma'am, we're not part of Crescent Ridge." But she didn't give up. The next time she dropped by with muffins, I tossed her glossy brochure into the recycling as soon as she left. The third time, she didn't even bother with baked goods, just leaned on my gate and said, "Independent lots attract attention, sometimes the wrong kind. Makes neighbors nervous." It was all sugar on the outside, but I heard the threat underneath. I let her know we already belonged here, even if we didn't pay her dues. After that, she stopped showing up, but suddenly we were the talk of every coffee klatch. Folks saying Becky was asking if they felt safe living next to unregulated property. Complaints that our wildflowers, planted for bees and butterflies, by the way, looked messy from the road. Lydia just laughed and said some people needed to feel important. I figured if we ignored her, it'd blow over. But let me tell you, when people like Becky go quiet, that's when you should worry. It started on a Friday night. I was out in the barn, hands greasy, fixing a busted auger belt when I got a text from my buddy Caleb. "Still good for the barbecue tomorrow?" "Barbecue?" I texted back, "What barbecue?" He sent a screenshot. There it was, clear as day. Turner Farm Fest. Free food, live music, family fun. My real address, bold as brass. My stomach just sank. I rushed up to the house. Lydia was already on the porch, pale as a ghost, holding her phone. "You getting weird messages too?" she asked. People were calling about vegan hot dogs, brewery deliveries, the whole 9 yards. By morning, I was running on no sleep, sitting on the porch, with my old Winchester across my knees, just in case. As the sun came up, the road filled up. Cars, trucks, folding chairs, a guy tuning a guitar, kids chasing a beach ball, someone hauling out a cooler. I walked down to the gate, tried to keep my voice steady. "Folks, there's been a mistake. This is private land. No event here." Some laughed, others rolled their eyes. "Says right here, Turner Farm Fest." "I took off work for this," someone shouted. Before I could say more, a red pickup barreled into my pasture, chewing up the ground I'd just seeded, and that's when all hell broke loose. People accusing me of scamming, yelling about lawsuits. One kid trying to climb the fence. He slipped, fell hard, broke his arm. His mom screamed. Somebody started recording. Everyone shouting, blaming me. I called 911. "This is Eli Turner. There's a crowd trespassing. Someone's hurt. I need deputies here now." When the sheriff finally showed, it was bedlam. The injured kid's mom was cursing me out as she drove off. The crowd was half gone, half refusing to leave, yelling about public access and false advertising. I handed the deputy my deed and ID, trying to explain. "Someone set us up." He just shook his head and said, "This is going to get messy." That afternoon, local Facebook groups were on fire. Farmer runs illegal festival, kid injured. Reporters sniffing around, folks picking sides before I could even clear the trash from my driveway. That night, my brother Dylan came by. He's a cybersecurity guy, and he just dove right in, found out the fake Facebook event was created using a burner email at the HOA's office. Either Becky herself or someone in her orbit was behind this. You know what I mean? The next day, I got a call from some lawyer representing the kid's family, said they were suing for negligence. Then another letter, this time from the HOA's attorney, threatening to sue me for harassment if I didn't stop spreading lies about Becky. Lydia was furious. They're trying to bully us into silence, she snapped. Well, I wasn't about to roll over. I called up Walter Hines, best country lawyer in the county. He said, "We're filing first, defamation, harassment, fraud, emotional distress, you name it." Dylan printed out every digital breadcrumb, timestamps, IP logs, deleted pages. We sued Becky Lom and Crescent Ridge HOA right back. But that wasn't the end, because the Miller family held a press conference, blaming me, and the comment sections turned into a war zone. Some folks said I was reckless. Some called Becky a snake. Becky just kept smiling, waving at neighbors, acting like nothing happened. I was boiling. Court came quick. Lydia sat beside me, squeezing my hand. Becky sauntered in, with that same step-forward smile. The judge was an old lady, tough as a railroad spike. Our lawyer laid out the evidence. Fake email, IP trace, even a witness who saw Becky working on flyers at the HOA office. Becky's lawyer tried to say anyone could have used the Wi-Fi. But then the district attorney, out of nowhere, produces a smoking gun, an email from Becky's account, a flyer draft attached. And an IT contractor testifies that Becky herself said, "Maybe this'll teach Mr. Turner to be more neighborly." You could hear every jaw hit the floor. Suddenly Becky wanted a deal, settlement, probation, public apology in 3 local papers, 200 grand in damages, and she's barred from HOA business for life. I took it. The Miller case went next. The judge ruled in my favor. Turns out, locked gates, no trespassing signs, and police logs actually mean something. The Millers got a symbolic payout from the HOA's insurance, not from me. You want to know how justice really works? Sometimes it's not thunder and lightning. Sometimes it's a woman in a black robe signing the paperwork. The next day, it rained, a soft Tennessee drizzle that smelled like relief. We spent that settlement money on security, keypad gate, cameras, motion lights. Lydia joked we were building a fortress. Maybe we were. But we also started something else, Farm Shield, a legal defense fund for other rural folks sick of being pushed around by HOAs. Dylan built the site, and by the end of the week, farmers from all over were sharing their stories and pitching in. As for Becky, she resigned for personal reasons, and Crescent Ridge almost dissolved their HOA entirely. The apology Becky published took up a quarter of the local paper. Just text, no photo. I pinned it up on the barn wall, right next to a news clipping that called our farm a fortress of rural resilience. Lydia laughs every time she sees it, says I'm getting too proud. Maybe I am. A couple months later, we finally hosted an open day, real this time. Tours, goats, composting lessons. Every visitor signed a waiver, every booking prepaid. First in line, Jake Miller's sister. She handed me extra cash and said, "He's fine now. Just a scar and a story." We stood by the fence, listening to the wind and the goats, and it finally felt quiet again. No more angry crowds. No more fake flyers, just life, messy and real, the way it's supposed to be. Sometimes folks ask if I ever forgave Becky. Truth is, that's not the point. The point is drawing your line and defending it, making sure nobody ever drags you through the mud again. So if you're listening to this, let me just say, don't mess with the people who grow things for a living. We fix what's broken. We stand our ground. And when you push us, we learn to fight back. Then we plant the truth so deep, it can't ever be dug up again. Now, I want to hear from you. Where do you stand? Was I right? Was she wrong? Or is justice just another word folks toss around when things get messy? Drop your thoughts below. Let's see if anyone else out there has tangled with an HOA and lived to tell the tale.